I'm running on very little sleep. I had Ben & Jerry's chocolate chip cookie dough ice cream in bed for breakfast this morning, and I'm doing a 24-hour readathon challenge. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Alessandro, and yes, you heard me correctly, I am doing my first ever 24-hour readathon challenge. Specifically, we're going to be doing a romance readathon challenge. If you didn't watch my last video, I'll leave it linked in the description down below and somewhere in the cards above here, but if you saw that video, you would know that I am, yes, drafting my own romance novel. And I felt that what better way to get into the romance writing spirit than to read some more romance books. Disclaimer, this video will not have spoilers, and then it will also not be like one of those extreme 24-hour reading challenges because I do need to sleep. I'm just not one of those people that can like force myself to stay up all night and just, read. Have I done that on occasion? Absolutely, but it's very rare for me. So in today's video, I'm gonna just see more so how many books I can read in the next 24 hours and not necessarily try to read for 24 hours straight. So I will be taking breaks. I do have to run errands, of course, as life is life, but I will be trying to read as much as I humanly can. So before we get into that video, let's talk about the TBR because I do have a few books on my radar. The first book I want to finish and read is called Never Been Kissed by Timothy Janowski. This book is an adult male-male couple rom-com book. I'm about 40% of the way through it already, and I'm really enjoying it so far. The writing's not my favorite thing, but I really am falling in love with the characters and their quirks and their personality traits. I'll talk a little bit more about this book further into this video, but the other book I want to read that I think I do want to read next, I do have a couple options, but this book is the one that I want to read the most. And that book is the very popular book called Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I don't physically have this book yet. It's on hold for me at my library, so I'm going to probably get that in this video either later today or tomorrow morning. But that is the book I also really want to read. I think without further ado, we should just get into it and start reading. I think the time is around 10:30 a.m. I film on my phone, so I have to use my computer or some sort of other timer to time myself for the next day. But that should be fine as long as I just keep track of it and don't like close the tab or anything on accident. So basically, I'm going to try reading from 10:30 today until 10:30 a.m. tomorrow. And we're just going to see how much I can read, and at the end we'll talk about my experience and maybe think about doing another one of these in the future, who knows. This book may not be the most amazing piece of literature, the most well-written thing I've ever read, but it is very, very cute. I know I said I'd talk a little bit more about the book, so like I said, I'm reading Never Been Kissed by Timothy Janowski, and we are following our main character's name is Ren, and like the title implies, he has never been kissed. Ren studied film studies in his undergraduate degree, and he's a really big movie buff and has always wanted that like front of the screens, big screen, perfect movie kiss. But on the night of his 22nd birthday, he's feeling a little bit nostalgic and drinks a little bit too much, and he ends up sending 4 kind of like no-send letters to the boys he almost kissed in the past. Most of them don't respond, but one does, and this guy's name is Derek, who's like Ren's #1 pre-coming out crush. And Derek actually emails back and lets him know that he's actually going to be interning at the drive-in theater that Ren works at for the next summer. So Ren has to like think about this, like, oh my god, this guy I really used to like who's really hot is like gonna be working at the same place I am for the entire summer, and he ghosted me a while back and I don't know what our feelings are now, like where we are right now. And it's just really cute, like the interactions, the dialogue is really funny. It's like definitely written by like someone who understands like, I would say like Gen Z millennials. And I really like Ren and Derek so far. I'm about halfway through the book, as you can tell, and not a whole lot has happened. I think it's definitely been a lot of setup and a lot of like plot building, and there's been a lot of tension and like slow burn moments, which I'm absolutely here for. And I just have a lot of moments where I'm just kind of like doing this and like getting really giddy and feeling all those romancy feels that I read when I read romance books. So I'm really thankful for that, because I finished Jade City the other day, the urban fantasy book I talked about in my previous vlog, and that was like the opposite of this. It was very intense and heavy and dramatic, and I'm really glad I'm reading something that's a little bit lighter and a little bit more fun. So I'm going to keep reading for a little bit. We're about an hour into the challenge right now. I need to go run some errands, and then I will go get the other book from the library, Better Than the Movies, and I will see you guys later. Okay, really quickly before I go run errands, it's kind of like quotes like this, I'll read it to you right now, where it's kind of like, it's kind of cheesy, but it's kind of funny at the same time. So it's just like they're at the 4th of July party, and they're all talking together, and they say an hour later, in the middle of a rousing discussion about which patriotic anthem is the queerest, top contenders, Kids in America by Kim Wilde or Whitney Houston's rendition of the national anthem. Like, it's just really funny and cute, and I really appreciate it. Me giving another update in my bed. Crazy. Hello, everybody. I hope you're still doing well. I am 196 pages into Never Been Kissed, and I'm hoping to wrap this up soon by the end of the night at least. I want to finish this up tonight because I did get Better Than the Movies from the library, so I'm hoping to start that either tonight or tomorrow morning. I only read about 3 hours into this readathon, so I think I might extend it a little bit longer than I planned because I was planning on reading from 10:30 this morning to 10:30 tomorrow, but it looks like I'm gonna need a little bit extra time to see how much time I can really get in this 24-hour readathon. I do have the timer set on my phone now, even though I set it on my computer originally. It's just easier to keep track on my phone, and I just pause and unpause when I'm reading. I'm gonna finish Never Been Kissed, and I will probably update you guys either later tonight or tomorrow when the light is better. Okay, so we're now on day 2 of the 24-hour readathon challenge, and I didn't realize how hard these challenges were actually to do. It's just hard when I have a lot of other stuff to do, like I do literally every day of my life, to literally sit down and read for 24 hours straight. I have challenged myself to do that for this video because I am basically keeping track with a timer on my phone where I just set it for 24 hours, and then every time I go down to read, I hit the timer and it counts down, and then when I stop reading, I pause it. But it's actually been really interesting to see how much I actually read on a day-to-day basis based on the timer, because looking at the timer right now, I'm only down to 19 hours. Which is crazy because I felt like I've been reading for so much the past day, and I'm like, wow, I've only read like 5 hours out of the 24 hours I've read. But I have read a lot actually in that amount of time. So I think the plan for today is finish the book I'm currently reading, which I'll talk about in a second, and then I'm also going to take the time right now to talk a little bit about Never Been Kissed. I finished Never Been Kissed last night around 10 p.m. and at that point I'd read for like four hours, I think. And then I ended up giving it 4 stars. This book was a really pleasant surprise for me. I talked about this a little bit at the beginning of the video, how the writing really wasn't my favorite and it wasn't objectively that good. But honestly, as the story progressed and I got more invested in the characters and the plot, it really was a pleasant surprise for me. I know objectively that I think people will disagree with me on this because I did read some of the other Goodreads reviews of this book, and I think the criticism this book has are valid, but I think for a debut adult romance novel, this is very solid. I'm really excited to see what this author comes up with next, and I will definitely be following them in the near future. And I think what I liked most about this book was that there was a lot of really nice, tender, sweet moments between the 2 main characters. And I think I'm learning about myself too is that I don't mind books without spice, because this book basically had no spice or steam in it, and I really like that about it. I thought it really added to the character of the book and really highlighted the fact that the characters were kind of like still like in the beginning phases of figuring stuff out. And I really like that because I feel like there are so many books that just dive right into the spice and there's like very little plot and very little chemistry. And I really like that this book had a lot of nice moments where the characters got to connect and really connect emotionally to each other. So for that reason, I gave this 4 stars, and now let's talk a little bit about the other book I'm reading right now. Okay, so I feel bad saying this because I'm trying again. I don't want to DNF books before I give them a fair chance, but I kind of already know where this book is going. So for that reason, I'm going to stop reading Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. It's just not for me, I think. I think I should know better by now that I'm just not a YA reader anymore. To be honest, don't think I've ever been a YA reader. I haven't read that much YA in my life. and the book reads really YA-ish. I think that's odd considering I really liked Renegades, Archenemies, and Supernova, which I would argue are very YA, but they're a different kind of YA, and I think in terms of romance, I just prefer adult romance at this point. And so for that reason, because Never Been Kissed had very little spice in it, I think we should kind of up the ante and read a book that is very spicy in turn. So for that reason, I am actually going to take Him by, I think it's Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy, off my shelf, out from the DNF pile, and we're gonna finish up this video reading Him. I ended up DNFing Him as part of my failed sports romances reading vlog that never saw the light of day on this channel from a few months back. And Him is a gay hockey romance book about two friends that were previously friends, but like a night of weirdness kind of ended their friendship in an odd way, and now they're coming back together to kind of rekindle their friendship and some other things as well. I remember this book being extremely spicy, and I think in the spirit of trying to gain more ideas for my romance novel that I should now read something that's spicy, because in case I do want to add a little bit of spice into my own book. So I think I'm going to finish out this video by reading Him. Like I said, Never Been Kissed was more my lesson in how to write more emotional characters, more really tender and sweet scenes, and perhaps Him will be my lesson in how to write spicy scenes, who knows. So I will read Him. I think I will probably resume, I'm not sure if I'm going to read from the beginning again because I remember what happens in the beginning. So I might read from where I left off, from where I DNF'd it, and then I will update you guys in the next clip. Are all sports romances this spicy? Because I read Icebreaker, I know I've read Him, and these are some of the spiciest books I've ever read, period. So this 24-hour readathon kind of turned into a 48-hour readathon. Technically, the end of the 24 hours would have come like Friday morning, Friday early afternoon. But I really wanted to see how much time I could knock off the timer I had going on my phone, so I decided to push the readathon to Saturday. I finished Never Been Kissed, and then I decided to pick up Him, and this book was a pleasant surprise for me because while the writing and the plot were not very well fleshed out, I don't think that was what the book was trying to accomplish. We just have to talk about it. The highlight of this book is the spice. This is a very spicy book, very steamy, very sexy, but it was done very well. I have to give Serena Bowen and Elle Kennedy their credit. They really wrote a good spicy book. And to be honest, I thought the ending was really sweet and wholesome, and that kind of like rounded out the book for me. So overall, it was a positive reading experience for me in the end. This book was definitely 3 out of 5 stars for me. Nothing crazy in the 4 or 5 star realm, but this also brings me up to 8 books so far for 2023, which I think is really cool. I surprisingly really enjoyed doing this readathon challenge because I really made the time to read and read for longer periods of time than I normally do, and was honestly really refreshing to kind of get those butterflies in my feeling stomach reading romances again, especially Never Been Kissed. Overall, just had a good time. I think doing readathon challenges with shorter books is probably more my style. I don't think I could probably readathon a book that's 500 pages plus, especially not like a fantasy sci-fi book. I will say this was a lot of fun, and I really liked the books I read. I know this didn't end up being like an extreme 24-hour readathon challenge, and to those of you who were expecting that, I'm very sorry, but it was just, for me, it was more so like fun to do the 24-hour readathon with my own spin on it. And if you would like to see more similar challenges like this from me in the future, or if you really want me to try an extreme reading challenge, please let me know down in the comments down below. With that, though, I think I'm going to wrap up the video here. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to my channel for more bookish content coming your way soon. And without further ado, I think I will catch you guys in the next video. Thanks again for watching. My name is Alessandro, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!